much for that, and thank you for re-emphasizing the immediacy of the imperative, and really that immediacy being as much a convening force as the issue itself. If we want action now, we need to collaborate to make it concrete, and that's really what these initiatives that are being represented on this panel are all about. So I really appreciate that, and appreciate the way that you've taken the direction of the conversation, because it's an excellent segue to our next speaker, who's been grappling with issues of data and different forms of data, and how that data then gets loaded onto digital backbones. But what is a digital backbone, and how do you put it together? Well, Dr. Sean Brown is Vice Chancellor for Research Computing at the University of Pittsburgh and the Director of the Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center at the Carnegie Mellon University and University of Pittsburgh. Dr. Brown, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in terms of grappling with data that is commercially sensitive, data that should be in the open domain, data that can be monetized. How do we, as we start to think about the fact that there is no transformation without information, how do we overcome the different languages of data and the different ownership structures of data so we can actually start sharing more efficiently?
Hey, thank you for the opportunity to speak and provide my insights. One of the things that we learned, full disclosure, I used to be a public health epidemiologist back in the influenza pandemic. And one of the things that we learned from the COVID-19 pandemic is it is key to have data shared. It's key to have data accessible across the board. You never know where innovation is going to come from. And we have so much knowledge and know-how and creativity around the world that keeping the data to yourself does not benefit humanity, but getting it out there and sharing it is what really creates the innovation and helps us to combat things like an international pandemic. So what we've been working on is essentially the concept in convergent innovation of a digital backbone, where we live in a very unprecedented time where we have incredibly vast abilities to gather data. The systems and approaches that we're talking about are highly complex, interacting in ways that we currently don't understand. And even if we do understand it, we don't know exactly how to assess the metrics that are being discussed here. And so really, and then on top of that, we have the ability to make accessible technology, such as things like AI and machine learning and predictive science in a supportive decision-making that has never been able to be done before through accessibility technology. And so the digital backbone is really about democratizing the access to data. We need to build the systems that allow us to gather this data, use this data, and understand our systems in a way that's equitable and accessible to all. And as you know, the complex spaces such as food systems, there's a lot of proprietary data, and getting a global view of where everything is at is very challenging, because we're not only dealing with actors that are in terms of farmers all the way down to consumers, but we're dealing with corporate entities, governmental entities, where they may not see the value of sharing the data and how that can help us to grow together to build a more healthy and equitable food situation around the world, and what that benefit might be. And so it really starts at home with the building a digital infrastructure that allows us to let anyone around the world be able to build tools, to be able to build methods, to be able to use this data for decision making, and help to promote the idea that anyone that wants to participate in this, by sharing their data and keeping it open and making it democratized so that everyone can benefit from it, we grow together in a more robust way. I very much appreciate the comments of some of my previous speakers about not only do the metrics have to look at, we have to go from a competitive sort of I have to make money sort of approach to, we have to figure out how to grow an economic model that is not hurting our populations and is also not leaving populations behind. And my feeling is that starts at the technological level. because we now can have people access things like an AI machine learning model, not like actually doing it, but presenting them interfaces that allow them to make decisions all the way down to the farm level, all the way down to the consumer level with that data, and understand what that means to produce healthy food and keep it equitable across the world.
Thank you very much, Sean. And you know, you're reminding me as you're speaking that my 11 and 12-year-old children are coding at school. I wish I had that opportunity. So I don't have that language, that capability. And I suspect that the asymmetry of capabilities that you're describing is something that is the camel in our caravan as we think about building the digital infrastructure that will allow us to share information, therefore allow us to transform our food systems in a way that catalyzes the value of the technological innovation, to Ambassador Cousin's earlier comment.